I think, from these executives. Look, thank you for that great introduction. And on this Friday afternoon, before you think about this long weekend, we have a great lineup of people that are going to be talking about AI, where AI is going, how it integrates with creativity. What are the firewalls? What's too much? What's too little? But how is this industry going to be transformed? So we think this is going to be a great panel for you. I would say two things as we get going. One, if anyone saw the Disney CEO announcement last week, what did they do? They announced their new CEO, Josh D'Amaro. Then they announced the first time they've ever had a president and chief creative officer role. Dana Walden, first female in this role as well. Now, why am I saying this? Because the first things out of the chief creative officer of one of the most preeminent media companies in the world, the first thing out of her mouth was, my charge is to find ways to integrate AI into our filmmaking and our storytelling. Folks, this is like the before iPhone moment and the post-iPhone world that we're living in, where we're changing using technologies to adapt. So with that being said, I'm talking way too much. I'm going to introduce this great group of panelists who are going to just set the tone for what we think is going to be great learning for you. Let's start with Jessica. Welcome, Jessica. I'm going to turn it to you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Hi, everyone. So great to see you all and so great to be here. I'm Jess Conway. I'm a senior executive producer at A&E Factual Studios. And we are the in-house studio at A&E Global Media. And we make a lot of great stuff. We make premium documentaries, and we make unscripted content that can be seen across the media landscape. I have a couple of favorites. You can't say you have one project as your favorite, but a couple favorites. It's in the game Madden NFL that you can see on Prime Video, Groundbreakers with Billie Jean King that you can watch on PBS, and 15 Minutes of Shame that I produce with Monica Lewinsky and Max Joseph, you can watch on HBO. So our company, like I said, sits under A&E Global Media, which you may know from brands like History, A&E, Lifetime, and we have some of the most successful IP in terms of series in the world. Any Dance Moms fans? Great. Cold Case Files, and then we have a couple of great new series, Unbelievable with Dan Aykroyd, and Hazardous History with Henry Winkler. But again, we are a legacy media company, but we got into AI, and we've been going gangbusters. It's just really great for our content. It's really great for our IP. And I can show you maybe a little bit of the work that we've been doing in this space.
I think we have a clip.
I was going to die.
Nice. And do we have another? Yes, no, nice. Do we want to show that slide, the one-shot slide? Yes. And if we don't, it's okay too.
If you're poking around and want to see some of the stuff that we're doing, take a picture. Oh.
Okay.
Share it later.
Yeah, we'll do it later. We'll do the next one. Nick, welcome. I want you to introduce yourself, and then we want to hear more about what you're doing.
Wonderful. It's great to be back. I was at the Pulse conference, sitting on this exact panel a year ago, and how much everything has changed in just 1 year in AI. I'm looking forward to getting into it all over again. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of a company called CreatorUp. The simple version is we're a global studio based here in Los Angeles, but we went global right from the very beginning. So we have offices in Singapore, Mumbai, Dubai, Athens, and truly operate on a global basis, working in Asia, Pac, Latam, Europe, as well as domestically here. We create all types of content for marketing, for education, for social impact, typically short form content for a lot of brands and organizations you'd recognize. Major car companies, technology companies, the Olympics, and so on and so forth. We started changing the model about how content was created 10 years ago by creating almost like an Uber for creative type platform. So 10,000 curated professionals, writers, directors, producers, videographers all over the world brought together in a team to project match using a unique platform. That allowed us to work with organizations around the world and create content at a speed, scale, and pace that was difficult for a typical production shop to match. That was the first innovation. That helped us go global, attract major brands, win a couple of rounds of funding. In the last 4 years, though, our industry, as we're going to get into today, has been transformed. And so we're going through a transformation ourselves. Yes, we are still a global studio. We pick up a camera, we use a traditional editing suite, we create animation, live action, 360, live streams, etc. But more and more, and in the sizzle reel we'll play in a second, we're leaning into AI. Not just using individual tools, individual point solutions, but leaning in and creating our own orchestrated platform of over 80 LLMs to support the creative process. So now we're very much moving to become a technology company, a technology platform, but working hand in hand with those 10,000 creative professionals to give it that direction, to give it that final polish, that fact check, and so on and so forth. So with this, I'll show a quick reel. Everything you're about to see is AI, and for a lot of brands you'll recognize.
Very nice.
And again, to reiterate, all of that was AI, so no cameras, no people involved with any of that.
Liz, I have you next. I want to say one thing. Have you guys thought about how much technology is in that? Everything in that was AI, right? Big deal. Liz, join us.
Hi, guys. My name is Liz. I am an Anderson graduate from 23 and currently lead Luma AI's media and entertainment partnerships. Luma AI is a multimodal AI model that really works specifically with creatives and lifts them up through different video models, sound models, etc. And we work with specifically targeting advertising, Hollywood studios, and brands. We did just release a new model called Ray 3.14, which is our best, fastest, and cheapest video model yet. It's also the first reasoning model, so it really is able to work with you and reason. But we are a video company, so I'd love to show you what it looks like. And again, everything we're showing is AI.
This is great.
And because this is an entertainment talk, we did want to show you a little bit of our performance capture, which is what we are also very known for. So we did give you one more taste, more on the entertainment side.
Love this. May I ask you a question? So you're unlike some companies, yes, go ahead. Unlike some companies, your company, Luma AI, is actually training some of the models.
Yes, so we make models, specifically multimodal models for specifically targeting creatives.
Fantastic. All right, Andrew, you're last, but we've been told you're not least, so let's go.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
Great to meet you. I'm Andrew Geller. I'm an executive producer and head of emerging technologies at a company called First Ave Machine. I'm a maker. I'm a filmmaker at heart. I'm a producer. I love making things and using technologies in work. You've seen my work at everything from the Super Bowl last weekend to the Grammy Awards 2 weekends before that. If you've ever flown United Airlines, that little video that tells you to put your mask on, I made that. There's a lot of type of content that we work on, from live action to mixed media. We love using new technologies. Incorporating AI is really important into our workflows. I'm going to show you a little sizzle. We've been doing it for a long time, right? So some of the work you're going to see here is older and geriatric in AI terms, but some of it's much newer and fresher. It's important to know that when we're making, we're always chasing, right? So the technology that we have at our hands right now is something that we're going to make with. Projects like this first one on the sizzle that we did for Carvana, where we made 1.3 million videos for the brand Carvana, for every person who ever bought a Carvana car, to using it to control robotics to do a music video that was nominated for a Grammy. So we can play the work.
They had just told me the names of the new owner. Jessica, Sean, Ashley, Dylan, Raul, Angela, Whitney. I know this is crazy, but do you believe in fate?
We've been building a new AI filmmaking tool for creators. One that combines the best of VO, Imagine, and Gemini. A tool built for creatives, by creatives.
We built a bespoke AI pipeline that let filmmakers and technologists work side by side to shape content around each customer.
Hey everyone, this is AI Angus and you're listening to Life Saving Radio. I'm here with Dr. Vonda Wright at Cedars-Sinai. I'm talking to Dr. Robert Masson. I'm here with Dr. Daniel Kraft and the surgical team.
More than 100,000 photos of Coca-Cola were taken at the exact moment shapes began to form. Using neural network object detection, we were able to find letters in the bubbles, condensation, and fizz. Coke Zero presents Sans Sugar.
Viewers could choose their own characters, decide what to pack, choose a destination, and AI went to work.
Each of these 25 robots has a plan that runs from the top of the song all the way to the end. And each one of them is a whole universe of programming and planning and interconnectivity with the other ones.
All right, we're going to get after it, people. Wow, like I work for Oracle. This is exciting for me. Come on, let's not kid ourselves. We're going to get to some questions here, right? And the questions are on this sheet for me. So I'm going to do rapid fire. We only have like 40 minutes, people, so I'm going to do some rapid fire. So like answer this question, and I'm going to start with you, Jessica. But then I'm going to jump to you on different questions, folks. Okay. Jessica, so talk a little bit. How is your organization advancing AI integration for either creative content or pushing the boundaries from where we've been?
You know, and I would say we saw the writing on the wall and we got very excited, thinking specifically about what was available and how it worked for this company. So like I said, we sit on a mountain of amazing IP. We're developing, we're producing, but you know, how AI is advancing, you know, content creation for us is really inside of our sweet spot. We do so many wonderful historical programs, and AI can take viewers back to the land before time. You know, they can take us to places that we would never have been before, and they can do it in a way that is, you know, cost effective, especially for us sitting inside of, you know, our fixed budgets.
So you can take that 100-year-old period piece, which is super expensive to produce, and now that could be an AI integrated product line.
Yeah, that 100-year-old period piece, but you know, that 100-year-old period piece also had a really big explosion in it. We can also give you that really big explosion. You know, instead of going with 3 Vikings on a longboat, we can bring you 100 Vikings, and we can bring you weather and elements. You know, we can take you back to the days of Genghis Khan. So for us, that's been really exciting to really build out those worlds.
Nick, you talked a little bit about some of your content creator with CreatorUp. What's the one thing that you think your organization is doing to drive this firewall? And if it's not your organization, maybe it's another one that you like.
Yeah, no, thank you. So, as I said, we're going through a transformation ourselves. You know, the creative agency of old, I think, is going to struggle going forward. And so we made a strategic decision, as I said, quite a number of years ago now, to essentially become a technology company first and a creative company second. Meaning that we invested in an architecture that allows us to house not just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 LLMs, but now over 80 LLMs. So essentially everything from Google, everything from Anthropic, everything from OpenAI.
For some students, LLM is what?
Oh, sorry, a large language model. So your ChatGPTs, your Imagens, your VOs, and so forth. So put all of that in one place, and add avatar engines, and music generation, and voiceovers, and scripting, and all the things that you would sort of need. House them in a place, house it in such a way that as a new model comes out, you can swap the latest version in, a bit like a Formula 1 pit stop. But then more importantly, rather than just simply making them available so the user has just one subscription and one access now at their fingertips to all 80 models, to put an orchestration layer and an intelligence layer on top of that. So therefore, we can overcome the limitations. Well, first of all, we can stay current with all the latest models. But then we can also overcome the limitations of any one single model, right? So rather than going to HeyGen, Synthesia, Colossian, or DID for an avatar, and 11 Labs for a voice, and somewhere else for video, wouldn't it be great if you could have all of those in one place, give it one prompt, and the AI automatically assembles not just one scene of 6 or 8 seconds of video like what Veo does, or Sora, but an infinite number of minutes of multi-scene video, automatically with script, automatically with music, automatically with sound effects and everything, all laid out in a logical order that you can then edit using GenAI, using all of those tools, then have a human in the loop. That's where the 10,000 creative professionals comes in, so that it's on brand, it's accurate, it's fact-checked, and developed at a speed and scale far quicker than using a single point solution where you have to manually stitch together a video piece, 6 seconds from VO with another 6 seconds of video and another 6 seconds of video, and by the way, I'll get the music from somewhere else and stitch that manually together. What if the AI could do all of that heavy lifting, but under the direction of a top creative producer, storyteller, and so forth, an editor, that you can then do all in one platform? So that's been the major investment and the reorientation of our organization over the years. It's what's attracted the venture capital that's behind it, so that we are truly transforming the sort of creative process, but doing it hand in hand with the top creative professionals here in Asia Pac, in Europe, and LATAM.
Fantastic.
So that's the innovation.
Thank you. I'm going to turn it to you, Liz, and I'm going to twist this question a little bit. Because your company's actually doing language modeling and training, and you also seem to be pretty cutting edge from that sizzle reel. So what AI tools are you most excited about that you're either seeing or that your company's pushing the boundary on?
I think on our side, we work so directly with creatives that you can see things like we're the only model that has HDR. We just released a model in native 1080. Just thinking about how all of the different ways to make a video model usable for creatives, and all of that really is opening up right now this year. Even thinking about, again, video-to-video performance, Jess mentioned it, but like being able to really create world building for any type of mid-tiered budget film for the first time, using our, they work incredibly hard on performance and really creating the technology around capturing performance, consistency, so that actors can be able to be really in any world and have any amount. You can have a Paul Thomas Anderson, a number of explosions for a television budget.
I love it.
Love that.
Folks, we're talking about this. Remember, you Anderson School of Management folks, think about this. We're in the #1 film capital in the world, but we're also in the #1 place where we film TV commercials, 30-second, 15-second, 1 minute. Think this is going to disrupt some things? Oh, yeah. Andrew, I want to get to you because you've been at it a while and doing some great work.
Thanks.
So the question for you is a little bit different. It's, commercializing all this AI technology, right? For either commercials or for film or television. What are you seeing out there? It could be what your company is doing, but more holistically, what are others doing that you're seeing in the marketplace?
Well, there's a lot of people doing amazing things. The way that we think about it is trying to create a goal, a creative goal, and using technology to get to that creative goal. So, every day there's a new model that's being released. I talked a bit about this at the start. You can't really catch up to what's going on, and I think that's the exciting part. So for us, it's about staying educated, coming up with an idea, and chasing that idea using technology to help us get there. The way we sort of work is we first like to push the bounds of what humans can do first. What is the hardest human possible thing for us to do? And then let's use AI to go beyond that. That's what technologies can do, is help you go further than you could as a person, as one individual, or as a team of individuals. And that's where we get really excited. So there's many places. You can look in every corner to find something that can help you move your needle forward or create some amazing idea that you didn't know you could make before. So it's not just in one place.
I love this. So I got a rapid fire for you. By the way, all 4 of you are answering this. They didn't prep for this, people. Quick one, Andrew. What is too much AI? What are the boundaries of AI? All of you getting this. Get ready. Andrew.
Too much AI. Look, I think everyone's going to have a totally different perspective on that question. I think that is a really, really difficult answer. But my personal answer is that if I could make something, let me make it. I want to make stuff, I'm personally not interested in 2 AIs talking to each other on a podcast. Why? Right? I care about human perspectives. So for me, where it gets a little hairy is when I, as a creator, can do something that I don't need AI for. But the way we use it as a tool, it's a paintbrush, right? So it helps me make more things. It helps me make something that's bigger. It helps me make something that's maybe cheaper or more efficient. So I think for me, too much AI is when I look at it and say, okay, well, humans weren't needed in the making of that piece of content.
Great. Liz, you're in this space.
I would say story is led by creative, and creative is led by story. When we see AI helping to create story. I think that always works, but I do think there's a disconnect now with AI tools and seeing people who are really technically talented and getting those across, but kind of losing that type of story. The people who I have found adopted AI first were animators, because they've seen classic drawn animation, CGI come in. Now a lot of them use Unreal. And the coolest part is all of those mediums are still being used today, and it's really just different forms of creativity.
Yeah, it's interesting that Albert Chang talked about it. First thing he showed in his Amazon AI Studios is a animated clip, right? Nick, I'm twisting this for you. It's going to be what is too much AI, or you have a choice, sir, Nick. What is the moonshot for AI? Like, you could do either.
Gosh, I have answers for both. Maybe I can do a quick double bill. I think in terms of I think there's a lot that AI can do in the creative process. So from ideation and concepting to the generation of assets to versioning for language, for culture, and telling people stories at a rate and a pace that you can't do with traditional means. I think there should be very much a responsibility that comes with that, whether it's in the political arena or in sort of other sort of sensitive areas. I think we need to be very careful in terms of the imagery, the deepfakes, and so forth. I think there's some guidelines we should all be very responsible for in the creation of that. In terms of the moonshot, I mean, we built our platform. Yes, it aggregates. Yes, we can go from prompt to multi-scene video with audio, music, etc. That's today. But we built the architecture in such a way that we anticipate the creation and will be creating a multi-agent sort of system. So we have an agent for this type of audio, for voiceover, for music, for this. We have others for visual effects. We have others for storytelling, and so on and so forth. We have command agents or producer agents on top of all of that. And so the ability to execute in a multi-agentic system is very much, I think, on the time horizon. What exactly that time horizon is, but probably next year.
Thank you. Next year, he said next year is can you guys hear this? Thank you, Jack. One thing that you mentioned that is not, it's for another panel, but super critical. You talked about deepfakes and some of the ethics around this. I'm going to ask a question later on about this, so get ready, folks. All right, Jessica, you've been in this business a long time. You're a content creator, executive producer. If I were to ask you to, maybe it's a limitation, maybe it's a moonshot, you pick. What are you thinking?
Thanks for bringing up that I've been at this a long time. But I have been at this a long time, and I came up as a documentary producer. I was in the field carrying a tripod, shooting things, meeting people, getting great stories. That's my journey. And so when I think about, when is it too much AI, I think about it in my space. I love creating those worlds. I love bringing people back to, the land of the dinosaurs, or, early man, or what that might look like. I think for me, where AI feels too much is when something real can sit in that place. So if I can have a wonderful conversation with somebody, and that conversation maybe gets amplified by AI, or AI enhances it, that feels great. So I think I often question's not the right word. I feel AI is very buzzy. You're all here because you want to learn more, or you know a lot and you want to get our takes on things. I think for me, it's, does it need AI? That reality competition show you're doing, do you need AI for B-roll or a backplate? So I think it's a little bit about, when it's too much, it's too much. So I love real things, but I love how those real things are complemented or enhanced with AI.
Thank you for that. Very important. Let me talk to a couple of you on this. Then I'm going to give two of you this other question. We're at a university, a top university in the world. Students are here. What should they be leveraging? What skills and tools should they be learning while they're here? And if you had to go into your career, again, sorry I mentioned your career, my daughter's in the audience, it's that bad. But if you had to go into it, what would you do differently if you were a student where we are right now? All right? I'm going to start with you, Andrew.
I want to take this one. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it's a really good question, and it's so interesting because when I was a student, we didn't have these tools, but we always had new technologies that we had to learn, right? So my answer to that would be, you kind of have two choices. It's a bit of a spectrum, but to be a master, right? Okay, that is obvious. Like, go learn the tools, be the best at the tools, make people turn heads and say, whoa, what is that person doing, right? That's going to clearly, like, take you to another level. But you don't have to do that. At minimum, you have to be a guide. Like, you need to be the person that people are coming to say, like, well, what do you think? Well, it seems like you know what you're talking about. What are you doing? Where should I look? What Instagram channel should I follow? Like, what GitHub should I go to? Should I join Discord? What is Discord? At minimum, be a guide. And I think if you do that, then you'll find success. Like, if you're lower than being a guide, it's just going to be you're falling behind.
Who else wants to take that before I twist it? Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first and probably the major question I'd ask in any interview if we're hiring anybody is, what is the AI team you're bringing with you? Right? So what I mean by that is, I want to know what agents you personally have built to help you in your particular function. Agents plural. So if you're in marketing, what agents have you created to help you create content, to write an email sequence, to post to social media and distribute and so forth? Because I'm not just hiring you anymore, albeit awesome school, Anderson, alum, etc. Great credentials, but that's the starting point. Okay? You with a team of AI agents, not just AI fluency, not just using ChatGPT and a few other models, although that's good, but actually building agents that can execute tasks on your behalf to help you in that job function, and you are bringing them into the interview along with your own personal skills and experience. That will set you so far ahead of any other sort of candidate. So not just become familiar with the tools, not just become fluent, develop a portfolio of work. Yes, that's all good. But what are the actual agents that you've built that actually help you perform the task that you will be doing at our organization?
Thank you. If you can take the same one, or if you, yeah.
Twist it for me. Give me
I'm gonna
something
twist
new.
it. I got something for you. Since you're a great content creator, done so many things, I watch dance. You say Dance Moms?
Dance Moms.
Come on, I got daughters.
Yes.
That kind of stuff matters. All right, so look, where do you predict AI will change in terms of content, sort of types of content? Short form, long form, documentary, gaming. We know it's going to change all of them, but where do you see will be the most advances?
Everywhere. We're going to see it everywhere. I feel like we'll see really big changes, and this is kind of where I'm looking, are big budget television and film. I think those are places where AI is really going to help compress timelines, which really matters when you're a producer. So across pre-production, production, and post, I think we're going to see it everywhere, but I'm really actually interested in see how that, and even just timeline compression and execution of visuals, but I think that's a big place.
I love it. Now remember, there's a couple of things going on here. By the way, get ready. I got a 5 to 10 year, big one coming up for you guys. But think about what you just said about content creation. And the problem of content creation, Albert Cheng kind of said, it's very expensive, right? So AI, is it helping drive down the costs? Maybe we expand different types of stories, or is it making everything just cheaper to production value? What's the crossroads there?
I would say and I don't know if this is universal, but I would say it's not necessarily saving us money. I think it's kind of redistributing it. So maybe for that Genghis Khan project, I'm not going to go to Mongolia, and I have a film crew there, but I'm still spending money and time bringing in fabulous talent. We can't say this enough. The tools are amazing. AI is amazing. Technology is amazing. What's the most amazing thing for me are the humans that sit, it's pilot to the controls and making everything. Omar, he's an editor, he's a creative writer, he makes playing cards. It's fabulous. So I think I would say I would say, and now I've lost my train of thought, thinking of Sweet Omar and my other collaborator, Brian.
Dance moms, dance moms.
Bring me back to dance moms, Jeffrey.
Okay.
Bring me back to dance moms.
Hold on, we're good. You gave a great answer. I want to hear more about this, Andrew, though. So, like, Andrew, Andrew, Liz, and Nick,
Yeah.
you guys pick. Yeah.
And what's the question?
Yeah. What are we going to see in terms of, as we move forward in a different way? Is it cheap content?
Oh.
Is it stretch better content? Is it,
it's
are you seeing cost reductions now?
I guess it depends on what you're doing. I mean, it's pretty hard to argue that things aren't getting cheaper, but the reality is that we are really thinking about it as adding value. Like the way we use it, it's less about, okay, let's make something that's really cheap, and instead it's about, actually, let's do more than we could ever do before. And a lot of people, at least in my industry, and I do a lot of branded content and work with a lot of brands, they are starting to spend some less, for sure, and it's heading that direction, and I do think that that's a scary thing, and you have to be careful of that. But the reality is that you can do so much more. You can give so much value and bring so much more to the table. So to me, yes, there's people that are able to save money in the end, but we think about it more about, well, how can we add value? How can we push something and do something that we couldn't do before? I want to just give an example. So like from that sizzle that we made, that project for Coca-Cola, right? That was a non-generative AI project. Everyone's talking about generative AI and thinking about generative AI, and that's video content. But there's a lot of really cool non-generative things you can do, right? That was a project we did using a computer vision model where we looked inside of Coke, bubbles, condensation, and mist, and we built a typeface so that you could actually make billboards out of the product itself. But we didn't just do that for English. We did that for 400 languages worldwide. So you could do it in every single language that sells Coca-Cola. For me, it's like, was it cheap to make that? No. Could you do that with just humans? Not really. And the value you're getting with the AI helping you create something like that is kind of unprecedented. It's hard to put a dollar amount on that.
I mean, we are watching this entire ecosystem of media become a global ecosystem. You just talked about that. You used to release a film in one country and then all the English markets and the Spanish markets and, kind of go through the world. Now translation is automatic. All these technologies are just there. Do you see that as we build to a more global economy, a different type of company that is going to drive success in the marketplace? I mean, YouTube did change everything with getting content everywhere, but it wasn't terribly good content at the time, but it was my personal content, right? Do we see some implications on this? I'm looking at any of you right now.
I'm curious what Liz thinks.
I mean, I was an early supporter of microdrama, so I do think we're seeing a lot. What I think was going to happen is we're going to
Explain a microdrama, because that's a deep subject.
Microdramas are short-term, short 1-minute verticals. A lot of them are tokens-based, so they get you really excited by these 1-minute episodes. And then I showed them to our COO, and she told me the next day that she had spent $30 and wasted 3 hours of her life. Mm-hmm. But they're very addictive. The way the writers think is just so knowledgeable about their audiences. It's very similar to how YouTube creators think, and just hyper knowledge of the specific audiences they're targeting. So I do think what we're going to see is just a massive amount of content and also a raised bar for content. So microdramas are growing. It's probably like the hottest investment right now. Disney, NBCU, I think all have public announcements for where they're investing microdramas, Lionsgate.
Democratization of content.
Yeah, and I would also think about like development. Buying IP right now is very expensive. A lot of it's book-based, comics book-based. When smaller creators are able to unlock world building and really build out long form or even catchy episodes and get followers and I start to create IP, that means that there is going to be a whole new stream for studios to start picking up new types of content and growing those fan bases.
Global implications for content. Nick, you're a global company.
Yeah, very much. I'll give a quick example, sort of an old method and a new method using AI. So a major pharmaceutical company everyone in the room would have heard of. Their regional office is in Singapore for Asia Pac. Their old way of localizing content for culture and language was to take the assets that came from the head office in the UK, to then feed that out to all of the countries that they're in Asia, so the Philippines, in Singapore, Indonesia, etc., have a local agency, take those assets, and in a manual way, very much manually translate, manually change the graphics to make it look more local for that particular country and region. New way. We ingested all of the assets that they had from the UK. So in other words, our AI watched, quote unquote, the videos, listened to the podcasts, ingested all the printed materials and so forth. So multimodal input into our platform. We then took their brand style guidelines. That became like the AI brand memory that was part of the reference prompt in addition to all the other assets that were going in. We then gave it various commands in terms of, okay, now take this and now not only translate it into Bahasa for Indonesia and Korean for Korea and so on and so forth, but to then localize it. So dub it, have an avatar created who looks like somebody from that country and so forth, and roll that out. We did it in, I don't know, 1/10 of the time and for about 1/10 of the cost. And much better.
Hold on, 1/10 of the time, 1/10 of the cost.
Exactly.
Data.
Right, we're talking instead of, tens of thousands, or it was thousands, or if it was thousands, it was hundreds, depending on the asset at hand. And then they have the advantage now. Now they have that brand memory set up. So the next campaign they do with the next drug or the next vaccine and so forth is already set up. And then you add a human in the loop for that final check, right? This is medical terminology. It's going to doctors and nurses. There's a lot of legal regulation, a highly regulated industry. So the translation, the terminology, et cetera, had to be exactly right. So a real test, for AI to do that. So that was what we've changed, right? So those individual production shops in each of those areas that would do things typically manually can now be done, quote unquote, centrally, on brand from the corporate level, or at least the regional level, and rolled out sort of simultaneously to all markets.
This is great. What would you add, Jessica?
I think for me, there's a lot of things that AI can do kind of back of house. And I think for where I'm sitting, I'm very much thinking about content creation. So I think maybe I'll twist my answer and your question a little bit, but I think what I'm excited about is that the material can go out globally and people across the world can see it and talk about it. And I think this is a global conversation. Creative material is meant to be shared and talked about. So I think, that's how I would turn it. That's how I think it's working globally for me.
Now, people don't fully appreciate what you just said, that, you used to have television and you'd only have content in America, and then a different type of content in France, and different kind of content, except for like some of the big movies, right? They have their own firewalls. Yep. Yet now you go on YouTube, 10, 15 years ago, you go on YouTube and that same piece of content goes anywhere in the world. This is a huge shift that people don't realize. Okay, we're setting up for the last question here. How are we on time? We're close? 5 minutes? Oh, this is going to be perfect. We got 5 minutes. Each you have a minute, but I'm taking my minute. All right, here's my minute. For those of you who are students, Amazon bought MGM. Apple TV is one of the fastest growing entertainment platforms with Apple TV, with Apple, technology company. Netflix is in the process of trying to buy Warner Media, big global company. And if they don't get them, Paramount's trying to buy them with Oracle, my company's money. Why am I saying this? We are watching right now the consolidation of media and technology. Do not believe this is not going to continue, and that new innovation and new entrepreneurs are going to need to be formed as these big companies begin to sort of take over sort of this space. So this is the question. Last question, so it needs to be good. I'm going to go for you, Andrew, and then we're going to come down. Andrew, 5, 10 years out, what is the moonshot? What is the big idea? We got some entrepreneurs in the audience. Like, what are we investing in that you don't see, or maybe, what is that moonshot?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, my opinion is in the same way that the iPhone really created the influencer industry and the ability to create whatever you want with a phone in your pocket. I think that in 5 and 10 years, you're going to see a democratization on any content creation at any level of content that you've never had before. And so what you're going to see is more content that maybe you don't want to see, but more opportunities. So, you know, I don't, for me, it's like I'm not afraid of this world. I think it's about finding the cream of the crop, and it all comes down to the idea. If you're using the content to create a good idea, you're going to, you know, kind of push through that. And in my world, I think authenticity of that storytelling piece is what's going to rise to the top. You're going to see an influx of AI slop. You're already seeing it online. People don't even, they're questioning whether something is real that is real. All the time online, you see stuff and people say, this is AI. It's not AI, right? And so that is going to be continuing to be the problem. We're going to start talking less about AI, and it's just going to be incorporated into our processes. And then the storytelling and the people and the perspectives will break through. So that's my take on the next 5 years.
I love it. Liz, can you like give us a moonshot that's yours?
I'm shocked by things that are happening at our company right now. 3 months, who even knows? I actually think in 5 years we'll be talking about 3D AI and we'll be talking about robotics. All of this will be passé and boring and will not longer be a big part of conferences. But for video and multimodal, I think we'll see perfect consistency. We'll see 16K, incredible types of resolution, perfect performance capture, and really like thinking about personalizing video, even beyond just localization, just the ability to personalize every ad and use all of this data that companies keep on browsing history and your profiles to make hyper-personalized data or hyper-personalized video that they are giving to you. So every commercial you're watching is going to be custom tailored to whatever you've been browsing on Amazon. When it comes to content, I think, you know, we'll still have that avatar style VFX work where someone's constantly pushing new boundaries. I couldn't tell you what that's going to look like. Maybe we don't need 3D glasses anymore, but everything should be really, especially this year, agentic, real time should be kicking in, which is really exciting.
I love it. Nick, are you going to beat this? Moonshot. What's the big idea?
I mean, I mentioned earlier, sort of multi-agentic platform is about a year away.
But people don't know what dig into multi-agent. We only got 2 minutes. Multi-agentic.
An agent being able to perform and execute being the key word here, particular tasks. So I want to create some music. I want to clean up the audio, I want to create video and so forth. An agent will do it for you under general direction. And then you have multiple agents working together to then take all that heavy lifting away and you just simply act as the director. I would say that really, I mean, it's happening now. Certainly from a year from now, I think we're going to see a lot
color
of
correction,
platforms,
all that stuff.
Everything, yes. But I think if we're looking at 5-10 years, I think the shift is less from a tool where we assume we are in control and it's gaining efficiency and speed and some of the other things we've talked about. That's short term. I think 2, 3, 4, 5 years, it's the I in AI, the intelligence factor that we're not fully sort of appreciating and recognizing today. The fact that it can, quote unquote, think of itself and have original thought and so forth, and what that means to the creative process. So I think we shift from a tool-driven world in the next, you know, small single-digit years to much more of an intelligent environment within sort of 5 to 10.
Love it. Jessica, you have the last word on this. What's that moonshot?
I want to say I have no idea. But I want to say, having been in this industry for a hot minute, I'm so excited for all of you. You know, these are the conversations that are happening in rooms all over the industry. What's next? What's next?
Absolutely.
So I think I would leave that with you, be a part of the conversation.
So thank you for this. As we close this panel, there's 2 things we're going to say. One is, did we make some of you some money There's some companies that will come out of this if we do it right. There's some new industries, and there's a lot of innovation. So thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Jessica. And thank you for having us. All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.